Hey, this is Rachel Stravelli. I'm so glad to see you. Today I am recording from the couch because today's message is about listening to your body and doing less. And I have a personal story to share about it. I hurt my wrist in terms of how I was looking for an answer and delving deep into doing less. And the universe was like, oh, you want to do less? Okay, let's just scoot you along to doing even less than you had thought you would do. So it just goes to show, I guess, here I thought I was doing so great. I'm like, oh, I'm overachieving at doing less. And then the universe was like, no, we're really going to show you how you can do less. So this month in my local book club, we are reading Do Less by Kate Northrup. And this is the first book I've read by her. I've read multiple books by her mother, Christine Northrup. And the subtitle is A Revolutionary Approach to Time and Energy Management for Busy Moms. And I have read a lot of books about motherhood, working moms, time management, productivity. But this one, is so wonderful and is unique to what a lot of those books typically write about. Because, and this is why she's a woman after my own heart, the things and ideas she's teaching in this book are very similar to what I deeply believe. And I think it's ancient wisdom. And I believe that honoring our bodies and listening to ourselves and living life with the flow of nature can have profound impact on your life. And those are some of the concepts that she shares in here. I have, I think, done a video about this before, or maybe it was just a Facebook post, about how we're not machines and we can't just constantly go and constantly do and constantly be. And I know that we know that, but our current economic system, at least in the US and in some of the Western world, is set up with the industrial model and acting as if we are machines and we can go all the time. And realistically, we can't. And so earlier this month, I realized with making videos and writing content and supporting people with personal growth and coaching, I was starting to feel spent because also at home, I wasn't getting enough help with the children and my son wakes up a lot at night. And so I was just feeling spent on both ends. So I took 2 weeks and decided I wasn't going to do hardly anything for my business and I wasn't going to do anything in my life that was not essential. And I also still kept the dates that I had when my children were going to the sitter or camp or whatnot. And that was a great 2 weeks. And my husband took over a few nights of staying up with our son so I could rest and recuperate because I had been listening to my body and realizing that I was starting to feel incredibly run down. My son is 11 months old, but some nights still sleeps like a newborn, waking up all the time. And so much gratitude to my husband for being supportive, and that week of getting a lot of sleep was amazing, but I was deprived for months. And so now I'm starting to really focus on, okay, how can I ensure that I'm still going to bed early and I'm still not taking on more stuff to do and filling up my life because, I got a boost from sleeping good for a week, but it doesn't mean he slept great last night because he didn't. He did a few nights ago, but not last night. So then last week, I was doing some yard work during the day, and at a certain point, I was like, I reached my max. I need to stop. I'm done. And we are trying to pretty up the yard and pretty up the house because we're going to be putting it on the market soon. And so I felt the pressure to get this done quickly. And then in the evening, we were inside and the kids just wanted to watch TV or needed my attention in various ways. And I thought, let's just get outside. My oldest won't be asking about TV. I won't be tempted to sit on my phone and let her just watch TV since she had already watched a lot during the day, that day anyway. So I said, let's get some fresh air. So we pop outside. They're playing. Yeah, sorry. I thought that wouldn't go off. they're playing, and even though earlier in the day my body very clearly was like, this is enough, no more yard work, it had been a few hours and I had had some dinner and some water and some rest. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll do some more. So I'm carrying some scissors and landscape fabric and a bunch of other things. And I hadn't tied my shoes. I had just stuffed the laces down in my work boots, and they're the kind that have the little clasps. And one shoelace got caught on the other shoe. My feet got all tangled up, and we have this asphalt little walkway. And so I started falling because I tripped up on my shoelaces and my arms were full of things. So I threw things to the side because I didn't want to fall on the scissors. And I didn't actually have time to catch myself with my hands, but I ended up falling on this hand in a really weird way, pretty much with what felt like the full impact of my body. And so the next morning and that night, I was in a lot of pain. And the next day, I can't turn doorknobs. I can't lift my son out of the crib. I can hardly get dressed. I can't open a peanut butter jar. The list of what I can't do felt like a lot. Like turning the steering wheel felt like a lot. And here I'm thinking, we have to pack up our house and prepare this house to sell in like a month or 6 weeks. And I only have use of one hand. This is ridiculous. And I started feeling really bad for myself because I started feeling like, oh, I'm not contributing. If I can't do that, I'm just sitting around and I'm going to have to heal. And it just started bringing up a lot of issues for me in terms of what I was noticing, how I was feeling. And yet I also started thinking, this is a moment when I can have more awareness and compassion for myself. And I thought, okay, how perfect is it? Synchronicity, divine timing. I'm reading this book. I am making a conscious choice to doing less. And this book is showing up in my life. And this event of my wrist is showing up in my life and forcing me to do less. Now, at the time that it happened, for the first 24 hours or so, I was pretty sure I had fractured it, but I was going to wait a little bit to go to ER just in case, or not ER, urgent care. But I decided to just send it healing vibes and thoughts, lots of prayers, arnica oil, ice, lots of rest, because sleep is so restorative and healing. And then it started feeling a little bit better. It's still not back to normal. It's just been a few days, but I'm learning, and this is a constant visual and physical reminder to me, like, again, just because I can maybe do more, does that mean I need to fill up my life full of things? Does that mean I need to stack everything so full because we have this goal of moving out at a certain day and getting our house ready to sell at a certain day? And it just makes me think, and I've had this discussion with my husband even before my wrist when we were rushing about home stuff. I said, like, does it matter if we spend stressful days of our lives, many stressful days, and we don't feel like we're spending quality time together and we're not spending quality time with our children, and yet we achieve this goal of, selling the house in a short period of time or moving out of the house in a short period of time? And I just told him, these are the days of our lives. These are the moments that we have. And I want to be able to look at things and determine, like, what do I really value and how am I using my time to support what I really value? And how am I also honoring, I'm a human being. I'm a force of nature. I'm a natural creature who has ups and downs and cycles of rest and sleep. And that's important and that's restorative. So I'm so glad that Kate wrote this book. And one of the other cool things about it, so in the beginning, she gives some great research to frame it for your mind. Then she talks about 14 experiments that you can do. And you can pick and choose if you want, or do them all, to really reconnect you with doing less. And she doesn't do it in a way like, let's delegate these things to other people. She really frames it in a way of looking at, for example, what are the vital things happening in your life? Are you listening to your body? Tracking your cycle. One of the reasons I decided to take that break, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry again, to take that 2-week break in my business was I had one of the most painful bleeding times in my menstrual cycle, maybe of my entire life. And I just remember noticing it and telling my husband, this is not normal for me. And I have much compassion for anyone who does have extremely painful times. But mine is not extremely painful. But I do know in my life when symptoms ramp up to a certain degree in various areas of my life, that's a warning sign for me, like, hey, I'm giving you a message and you're not listening to it, or here's the message, you need to listen to it. And so I knew when that happened that I needed to slow down and I needed to really be conscious of how am I using all this time and energy that I have. And I know some of us might think, well, I don't have a lot of time. And to some degree that's true. But any wise person knows that the opposite is often true. So maybe you don't feel like you have time today, but by incorporating things like mindfulness and being present and honoring your body's needs, you can find more time. And one of the sad things I think is, and she kind of talks a little bit about this in the book, although maybe not in the way I'm going to talk about it. We've added technology into our lives, and in some ways it makes things easier. Oh, I can order a package and I don't have to drive to the store and get it. Yeah, but I also miss the interaction that happened there. I also miss being in my car, driving outside and seeing the scenery. And what did I fill that time with? If you're like the average person, Facebook, Netflix, Pinterest, YouTube, which I love, and all these things. And they're not inherently bad, but we can spend a lot of time on these things and at the end of the day feel a little bit empty because we didn't spend the time doing things that we valued. And I really want to encourage you to if you can connect with this book, great. If you want to reach out to me and talk about it, or talk about the ideas of how we can structure our lives so that we are spending multitude of time on the things that we really value as opposed to the things that are just there by default by other people taking over our lives or other events. And also, just to wrap it up, the value so much of honoring our bodies. They have so much wisdom for us. Before we were logical, verbal, speaking people using all of these words and all of these technologies, like we've been these animal bodies for a really long time. The human form has existed for quite a while, and we didn't always use so much logic. In the past, we use a lot more intuition and wisdom of listening to our bodies. And unfortunately, some of that has been lost along the way. But we can reclaim some of that, and the value and the impact and the excitement that you have when you reclaim that is incredible. So I'm really excited. If you want to share in the comments if you think you're going to get this book or what you think about the idea of doing less, or where in your life you think, oh, I would really love to do less XYZ so that I could do more playing guitar, spending time with my friends, coming up with new barbecue recipes, whatever it is that you like to do. I would love to know what you want to be spending more of your time on and what you'd love to be doing less of. All right. Thanks so much for connecting. If you want to give a thumbs up and subscribe, that would be great. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.